What's up, guys? Today on People Now, we're celebrating the heroes on the front lines of the fight against coronavirus.
Also today, some of our favorite stars take us into their lives in isolation. Why Sophie Turner is loving life at home with Joe Jonas.
Could you self-isolate with your ex-wife and her boyfriend? Wayne Brady explains how and why his family is making it work well.
All the sweet details of Bindi Irwin's isolated wedding in a zoo. It's this week's People Cover story.
Plus,
when I started having night sweats and the shortness of breath, that's when it got real for me.
Bachelor star Colton Underwood joins us with an update on his coronavirus recovery and what he thinks Claire Crawley is going to bring back to The Bachelorette.
That and more today on People Now. Let's go.
What's up, guys? Welcome to People Now. I'm Jeremy Parsons in New York. Hey, Andrea.
Hey, what's up? I'm Andrea Boehlke here in Wisconsin. Not much new, Jeremy.
I know we're kind of at that point now. This is like the 3-week mark for both of us since we kind of ended working in studio. It's kind of getting to a point where we're beyond the routine now. I will tell you that last night we had a tough night. We sort of had that moment where it was like, oh, the weather wasn't great outside. It felt gloomy. But today the sun's shining. I'm feeling good. I'm kind of getting a positive wave. And I think that's kind of what we're all trying to deal with, right? Like understanding and learning how to deal with the waves of this whole experience.
I mean, a new thing for me is I actually broke my pinky.
What?
April Fools.
Unbelievable. I thought we agreed not to do that, but that was a
Oh
detail.
my God.
I can handle that level of an April
ever.
Fool's right now.
Gotcha. All right. Anyway, yeah, that was super lame, but we have a lot to get to today, starting with this.
Sophie Turner is making the most of her time stuck at home with her husband, Joe Jonas. On Tuesday, she joined Conan O'Brien via video chat for an episode of Conan at Home, where she admitted that she's actually kind of loving being very, very quarantined at home all day.
Yeah, she is loving it. She reveals she's an introvert, saying, if I could stay at home all day, I would, so this is great for me. I leave my house like once a day anyway to walk my dogs, and then that's it.
While Sophie and Joe are doing their part to help flatten the curve, the actress expressed that she doesn't understand how people are really struggling to practice social distancing. She says, look, all you have to do is stay at home and get drunk at home, which she's obviously kind of joking, but that's what a lot of people are doing to kind of pass the time.
I mean, to be fair, I'm sure she has a beautiful, huge home, and she admitted to being an introvert. And I think this is a hard time for extroverts because you're used to socializing and everything. So she might have it a little easier than some people.
For
but
sure.
she's, having fun with it. Sophie also gave some insight into how she and her husband are doing after being stuck together for all of this time. Take a look at this.
Joe and I, it's actually kind of, everything seems to be working out in my favor here because Joe's he's a real social butterfly. So I struggle to kind of lock him down and have him just spend time with me. So it's like prison for him, but it's great for me.
I'm sure it's not prison for him, but how does he pass the time? What does he do?
He's taken up like a Instagram live DJ set. He started doing that.
DJing at home.
Yeah, he's really, really loudly while I'm trying to read my scripts.
Sophie goes on to tell Conan that she makes sure he's set with drinks. She says, he'll text me and be like, what time is it? I'll reply from the kitchen, shot time, and bring him a shot of tequila. And Sophie added, there's no rules in quarantine, it's fun. At one point in the interview, she also lifts up her leg to show Conan that she's in sweatpants, which I think a lot of people can relate to, and also says that Joe is wearing jeans, which, why would you even wear jeans at home?
Although I will say I've been in workout pants every day, except today I've got jeans on. I don't know why. I just wanted to. I wanted to up my game today. I was feeling fancy.
All right.
They've been going on. By the way, they've been going on Instagram Live. I've been seeing some of the DJ sets that have been hilarious. I don't know. They'd be a lot of fun at this phase of their relationship to kind of stay home with.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking I want to kind of catch one of those DJ sets and have a party here. My sister's birthday's coming up, so we were thinking of finding a DJ on Instagram.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah, Joe Jonas DJs her birthday party. No big deal.
All right, now we move on to this. All right, Wayne Brady is self-isolating, as most of us are, but his situation is a little unique. The comedian revealed that he and his daughter are currently at home with his ex-wife, Mandy, and her boyfriend. Really fun house there. Wayne telling Access Hollywood that they have a, quote, different and a very special situation than a lot of people that co-parent. He says for the entire duration of their daughter's life, they have co-parented as best friends. Wayne adds that he and Mandy, quote, live virtually next door to each other.
So when it comes to self-quarantining, Wayne explains their situation. He says, quote, we quarantine between both of our homes and I've got a big backyard, lots of land. So we both share this land and this space. Mandy, her boyfriend, my daughter, we are a family. We're like this new nuclear family. I think when you first hear the headline, it's a little jarring, but then when you kind of understand the dynamics of their situation and the land that they share and all that, it's kind of nice that they can be together, and good for the daughter that they can all get along through this.
Could you isolate with an ex, Jeremy?
I guess it depends on who, but definitely not in this New York City apartment. There is not enough room here.
Yeah, it definitely depends on who the ex is. I mean, I don't think I could bring an ex into like my farm family. I mean, I think that it'd be maybe a little jarring.
But you get along with your exes, though.
I do, yeah. So it's possible. I could see how it could work. Wayne also adds that moments like this bring you closer. He says they've been doing TikToks, playing board games and card games to pass the time. They've even been in his studio writing songs and freestyling together. He says it's an amazing time for family because it's kind of like a timeout. All right, now we switch gears to this. Each night across the country, doctors and nurses come off their 12-hour workdays at hospitals and are greeted by teams of colleagues just starting their night shift.
But on March 27th, the shift change in hospitals across New York City was a little different. It was met by the sounds of applause, car horns, and shouts of thank you ringing from high-rise windows and apartment balconies. It was a socially distanced shout out to the people fighting coronavirus on the front lines in overflowing emergency rooms, maxed out ICUs, and makeshift tent triage centers.
Well, we want to spotlight some of those heroes now, and we're doing so in this week's issue of People, starting with Dr. Craig Spencer, an ER physician and director of global health and emergency medicine. He tells people that as soon as he walks into the hospital, there's an urgency, a lot of sick people, many on breathing machines. He says every day it gets worse because infections are still on the way up. Dr. Spencer reminds us that doctors and nurses have families too, adding, it's a continuous worry about bringing the virus home from the time you're off until you walk out of the shower.
Jamie McElman, a critical care nurse, reveals that the coronavirus is terrifying because it was unexpected. He says no one prepared for this. One of his biggest struggles is not being able to literally hold a patient's hand, since he says nurses are all about the human touch. He tells People in this week's issue, quote, healthcare workers cannot wait for scientific research. We just suit up and show up, and I pray.
Well, we too applaud and thank all of the healthcare providers fighting for us day in and day out. For more on heroes at the front line, check out this week's issue of People.
Well, here on People Now, we've been bringing you positive stories to make you smile over the past couple weeks. I think we can all use a little pick-me-up at this point, and this one definitely has us wanting to bust a move. Watch.
This is so fun. A neighborhood in Buffalo, New York went outside for a fun community activity during lockdown. The video you're seeing now was taken by Anna Stolzenberg. It captures the neighborhood dancing along to the Rolling Stones song, Get Off My Cloud. The music is being blasted from one neighbor's balcony, and the whole street is dancing along while keeping a safe distance. Stolzenberg captioned the video with, the neighborhood social distancing dance party in Buffalo is lit.
I love this. It sure was. It turns out two of those neighbors orchestrated the whole thing, Nadia Piaka and Doug Smith. As reported by local newspaper Buffalo Rising, Smith owns an audiovisual company in Buffalo, and since all of his events were canceled, he wanted to find good use for his equipment, so the decision was made, neighborhood dance party, done. Smith tells Buffalo Rising that they just wanted to lift everyone's spirits while still being very conscious of social distancing guidelines. The thing I love about that video, it's people of all ages. You got a lot of old people, you got younger, and everyone in between.
Yeah, and as the Daily Mail reports, Stolzenberg stumbled upon the scene while walking home one day. She found out they actually do this every day at 5:30 p.m., which I think is so cool. In her video, you can see the neighbors having a great time, busting some of their best moves. There are even several older residents dancing on a balcony and another older woman strutting down the street. Stolzenberg told Buffalo Rising that, quote, you can't help but be uplifted while being surrounded by people of all ages inspired to dance.
I think this is such a great thing, great way to bring the community together, and something to look forward to every single day, which I think we could all use right now. And plus a dance party. We should do that with our show.
Let's do it. What's your move, Jeremy?
Oh, just right now? Oh, okay. I'll just do a little bit of this. I mean, I'm limited to this space.
But yeah, if you had more space, we could see all the glory.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to this.
Bindi Irwin and her new husband Chandler Powell's March 25th wedding day was not what they had planned, but they say it was perfect. The couple is opening up about their whirlwind day in this week's People cover story. Bindi says, quote, even if it wasn't by the book perfect, it was our perfect.
Yeah, the couple were set to wed on April 4th at the Australia Zoo, but of course, due to the coronavirus, they bumped up their wedding 4 weeks sooner. Bindi says it was a tough decision, but absolutely the right one.
They decided to go ahead with their vows rather than postpone because they desperately wanted to get married. Bindi says no matter what the future holds, at least we'll be husband and wife. We can take on the world together. And even though Chandler's family couldn't make the trip to Australia, they did do a video call on the big day because his father had to see every detail. And the details were very special.
Of course, lots of animals were in attendance, but only 3 human guests, Bindi's mom, Terry, her brother, Robert, and Wes Mannion. her late father, Steve Irwin's best friend. Now, during their ceremony, Bindi and Chandler also lit a candle to honor Steve's memory. Bindi says it felt like her dad was there with them. She adds, quote, "My dad would be so happy."
And Bindi looked beautiful. She walked down the aisle in a custom long-sleeved lace gown by Paddington Weddings that was inspired by her mother's wedding dress. And her vintage look was topped off with a recycled rose gold ring that sparkled with a lab-grown 2-carat diamond.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty impressive. Chandler's planned suit actually didn't arrive in time, so Robert had to help him find something to wear from his closet. Robert also helped to walk his big sister down the aisle.
So everybody did their part there to get it all together. And after the ceremony, they cut their rustic-inspired strawberry and vanilla cake. And then Bindi reveals that she hopped into her PJs and ate pizza, which is the great way to kind of like relax and enjoy the rest of the day, I guess. And now that their special day's over, they are looking forward to spending the rest of their lives together. Chandler says, quote, "I married my best friend and the most beautiful girl in the world."
As for starting a family, Bindi shares that maybe one day we'll have our own little wildlife warriors. But she adds, "For now, I just feel lucky to get to call this guy my husband." Check out more of Bindi and Chandler's wedding in this week's issue of People and watch all the special days moments on Crikey, It's the Irwins, Bindi's Wedding. The special episode premieres April 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Animal Planet.
All right, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's last official day as senior working royals has come and gone. And now the couple is ready to start their new life in LA. In this week's issue of People, a royal source tells us that despite all the uncertainty surrounding global events, Meghan and Harry are positive about the future. The source adds saying it is exciting for them to mark the end of the transition and the official start of their new chapter.
Yeah, it's been a painful few months for them and for the royal family as the couple made their sudden departure from their royal roles on Tuesday. Before flights were banned because of the coronavirus pandemic, the couple flew with their son Archie, who turns 1 in May, from their home on Vancouver Island in Canada to California. But Meghan and Harry aren't the only ones thriving in their new lives. According to the source, little Archie is now teething. He's a happy baby and will be happy to be in the California sunshine. The source adds, like everyone, they are adjusting to social distancing and being cautious and safe.
On Monday, the couple made their final post ever on their Sussex Royal Instagram, saying goodbye to their 11.3 million followers, but vowing that, quote, "While you may not see us here, the work continues." Spokesperson for the couple said in a statement released via Buckingham Palace that for the next few months, they'll focus on their family and continue on with their pre-existing charitable commitments while developing their future nonprofit organization. We wish them all the best. All right, stay with us. Former Bachelor Colton Underwood gives us an update on life after his coronavirus diagnosis and his take on new Bachelorette Claire Crawley. Plus, we're staying home with Queer Eye's Bobbie Burke. He's got some tips to help you have your most productive work-from-home day ever. Stick around for that. Kevin Hart's family is growing. 5 days after Los Angeles was put on lockdown because of coronavirus, Kevin's wife, Aniko Parrish, announced on Instagram that she's expecting.
Yeah, alongside a picture of her growing baby bump, she wrote, "In the midst of all of this, we're counting our blessings and couldn't be more grateful." The announcement comes nearly 7 months after Kevin seriously injured his back in a car crash. A source tells People in this week's issue that after the accident, Kevin has balanced his life differently.
The source reveals that the actor has been spending more time with his kids, 2-year-old Kenzo, whom he shares with Aniko, 12-year-old Hendrix, and 15-year-old Heaven from a previous marriage. The source telling People he really enjoys it. Life is good for Kevin. Well, it's no secret the couple has had their ups and downs. Kevin admitted to cheating on Aniko when she was pregnant with Kenzo, but now the source says their marriage is stronger than ever.
The source goes on to add, while Kevin focused on getting back to normal physically, Aniko took care of everything else. Kevin knows he's lucky to have Aniko. They're both thrilled about her being pregnant again.
All right, moving on to another story in this week's issue of People, we are checking in on Val Kilmer, whose world was turned upside down when he was diagnosed with throat cancer in 2015.
The actor landed his breakthrough role in 1986's Top Gun and hit Hollywood's A-list when he played Jim Morrison in 1991's The Doors. After his diagnosis, he underwent a tracheotomy, chemotherapy, and radiation.
Today, Kilmer, who is dad to daughter Mercedes and son Jack with his ex-wife Joanne, tells People, quote, "I have been healed of cancer for over 4 years now, and there has never been any reoccurrence. I'm so grateful."
And as he explains in his new memoir, I'm Your Huckleberry, Cher actually had a lot to do with helping him heal. He writes, quote, "Cher couldn't have been more caring," going on to reveal that Cher stepped in and stepped up, even hosting him in her guest house in Malibu. The two dated back in the early 80s, but as Kilmer says, once Cher works her way inside your head and heart, she never leaves. Cher even connected him to his then doctor.
In his memoir, Kilmer also opens up about his dating life, or lack thereof. He says he hasn't had a girlfriend in 20 years. He adds, quote, "The truth is, I'm lonely part of every day." As far as his past flames, Kilmer reveals that his breakup with Daryl Hannah was by far the most painful of all, while he credits Cindy Crawford with his rebirth after his divorce from Joanne Whaley. Kilmer also calls Angelina Jolie the most soulful and serious of them all.
There's so much to unpack here. He has really lived a life. And if you want to read more about it, Val Kilmer's memoir, I'm Your Huckleberry, is out April 21st. He'll also be in Top Gun Maverick when it hits theaters this year. Very excited for that.
All right, guys, if you're watching with the kids, might want to send them into the next room for this next segment. Certified sexologist and intimacy expert Shan has a brand new show. It's called Sexology with Shan. It premieres on Quibi April 6th. I spoke with her and caught up with Shan, got the details on the show. Plus, we talked about how the coronavirus is affecting the intimacy between couples of all different sorts. Take a look at this.
We want to talk about some things that are going on with this current situation with Corona in a minute. But give us the quick pitch for your show. What are you most pumped for?
I'm excited because I finally have a show that is going to be an encyclopedia of answers for all things sex, love, relationships, and dating. But it's not just, an article brought to life. It's real people, real stories, real takeaway. So with each 6 minutes, we focus on different topic dealing with sex, love, or dating, whether that is the best pickup lines to how to excel at dating as somebody who identifies as asexual, to the best ways to give oral sex. It is honestly every single topic you can think about. And then we've got incredible guests, real people, real stories. It's such a dream come true for me.
Well, talk to me about this. 100 episodes or over 100, right?
Over 100 episodes.
Are there going to be coronavirus related episodes, or are they already pre-banked? Like, how's that going to work?
Yeah, so we're actually right now shooting 2 weeks of COVID-19 specific episodes because obviously the question of intimacy is at the forefront of this conversation. As long as we are trapped indoors, we want to know, one, if we're single, what does that mean for our love life? And two, if we're, like myself, married to somebody and now you're spending so much more time with your spouse, what does that now mean for your relationship? So we're covering those off in 10 really special episodes. We've shot 5 so far. It really is an unprecedented, phenomenal times, and the real people stories that we've been hearing have just been tear-jerking, but also hilarious.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And on the coronavirus topic, as we've been in quarantine, I'm married as well, and how it affects people that are used to living together. For us, it's kind of been like, whoa, we're in this new. It's almost like it's like in a weird way. I know there are serious things happening, but it's like we're at camp. It's like we're at summer camp, we're like cooped up together, and it's sort of invigorated or turned over a new leaf, a new wave for us of intimacy and kind of like, I don't know, it just feels a little different. Are you finding that that's something that other people are feeling as well?
Well, you're probably on the positive end of the spectrum because the other end of the spectrum is that countries that have been quarantining for much longer have noticed the divorce rate have started to increase along with the time people spend, in close proximity like that. So if you feel like the intimacy has turned a new leaf and that the tides are rising, you guys are probably doing quarantining and chilling very, very well. That's one of the episodes that we're covering off on. How do you quarantine and chill with your significant other? I definitely think that myself and my partner look at it like we're practicing for retirement.
Talk about couples who maybe don't normally live together. Maybe they've decided to quarantine together. I feel like that could really go either way.
Yeah, finding a quarantine, which is somebody just to shack up with during this period of time of self-isolation, in some cases, can be a wise decision because you've got a built-in sexual partner with you. Also, you've got company if you live alone. But, moving in with anybody too fast is a recipe for disaster. And if you add in the heightened anxiety that we're experiencing right now, the terror that we feel right now, the clinginess that we're going to have as a result of our safety feeling jeopardized, that's not a recipe for the way to start off any connection. So it's definitely been fascinating to hear stories of people who are essentially 3 dates in and now living together. But again, these are unprecedented times, which is why on Sexology, we knew we had to tell these stories.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine one of the biggest challenges, especially when it's people that are new to the game of their relationship together, keeping the mystery alive when you are literally kind of quarantined together is a real challenge. Do you have advice for that?
Well, I mean, we still get to leave somewhat, I think, or create separate spaces. So I do think that you can still build in different times apart. I do think you can still build in a walk that's solo. So I hope that people are utilizing this time to have enhanced conversations around setting boundaries. Even if you are new to a connection, letting somebody know, hey, I need 2 hours by myself per day, or showering is my private time. So this is an opportunity for you to start advocating for your needs, and your sanity depends on it.
It really does.
Depends on your ability to communicate with your partner, your needs.
Let's talk about single people. Is this a good time to continue online dating, kind of virtual dating? I feel like that would be, I don't know, essential if I were alone, especially in a city like New York, that would be some way of really connecting.
I honestly have heard a lot of different accounts from single people. If you're somebody who is looking for a more serious connection, there are studies that show it actually could be a prime time for you, because people are spending less time swiping and searching for the next greatest thing and more time trying to actually connect with the few people they do feel they have some chemistry with. And now you don't have to try to play that juggling game of, is this just a hookup or is this more? There's no opportunities to hook up, so that's off the table. Now all you have is time to connect intimately to see if you actually have something there. So it can be used to your advantage in that way. On the flip side, if you're someone who's just on the apps looking for something to pass the time, there's a lot of people who share that with you, and a lot of horny people. So I think that you'll be able to find what you're looking for in either case. But yeah, the payoff might be a little bit further down the line, but I think right now is a prime time for people because we're looking for connection, and single people are feeling, in many cases, more alone than ever. And if you have been single for a long time, this could be your opportunity to finally start having more meaningful discussions.
Final question, practically, just as a takeaway. Number one tip for people in the bedroom that you tell everyone?
Number one tip, it doesn't have to be a lot to make it different. I think when people think about spicing it up, they're like, let's get the most giant sex toy, or let's go to Cancun and, you know, see if a worker will hook up with us. You don't have to go to big extremes. Little stuff like changing a light bulb, changing the music, changing the sides of the bed that the two of you were on, you know, role playing, but not role playing like you're Superman and I'm Harley Quinn. Role playing just like, hey, like, let's pretend that this was the first night that we met, or this is like a hookup that we're connecting on. So I think those subtle changes that you make can reignite dopamine in the brain, make it exciting again.
Thank you so much, Shan. It's so good to talk to you. We really appreciate it. And guys, you can check out the new show, Sexology with Shan. It premieres on Quibi when it launches on April 6th.
I'm gonna be on the Parents magazine cover. This is like a big deal. That kind of, I guess, says I'm a good parent, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. I hope I'm a good parent.
Model Karolina Kurkova is the cover star of the May issue of Parents, and she's featured with her two sons, 10-year-old Tobin and 4-year-old Noah.
Karolina opens up about her realistic parenting style, teaching her boys how to be self-sufficient, and her minimalist mama makeup routine, which includes at-home facials in the form of a sheet mask. She also shares how she's been parenting amid the coronavirus outbreak exclusively on parents.com.
She says that her family has found that staying home gives them a rare chance to bond together as a family on a much deeper level than ever before. She adds that she's focusing on being with her husband and sons. They're all focused on finding activities which bring them joy. And honestly, we've had a similar experience as we've kind of gotten into the groove. We're really starting to appreciate the time we have together, even though it does get a little nerve-wracking at moments, but it's good.
That it does. Well, Karolina also says that she and her family are, quote, learning about patience, gratitude, and values, and that she's teaching her sons all about the brave doctors, nurses, and others who are on the front lines helping us all stay safe. And for parents out there who are kind of struggling to figure out how to handle screen time with their kids, she has a really great tip.
Yeah, she says for every hour they spend on a screen, whether it's watching a show, a movie, whatever, they have to spend an hour outside doing some other type of activity, which is a great idea. And if you don't have the outdoor space, you could also find time to do an art project or do a game together, just something other than screen time. Guys, if you want more info from Karolina Kurkova's interview with Parents, you can check out the May issue and visit parents.com/Karolina.
All right, everyone. Today we're staying at home with Bobbie Burke. The Queer Eye star is teaching us how to utilize the space in your home. Plus, he shares his tips on how to avoid getting too stir-crazy. Take a look.
Whether it's the end of your dining table, a corner of the living room, or even your kitchen counter, set aside a designated area that will be your workspace for the coming weeks. Having a specific spot will help you easily get into work mode, and choosing a spot away from distractions will help you stay focused. These are the things that every productive workspace should have that you can steal from any room in your house. Whether you're working late or just need some extra light, having a lamp that's within arm's reach will really help you stay productive. I suggest using one with a fabric shade because that will help diffuse the light and it won't be as harsh on your eyes. Most of our bedrooms have lamps with fabric shades, so go grab an extra one from the nightstand and bring it to your new workspace. You'll also look way better on company video calls when you're lit properly. You don't want to be the person in the dark cave. It may sound simple, but having a carafe or a glass of water on your desk at all times will help you stay hydrated throughout the day and improve your workflow. While having an office chair is always the best option, if you don't have one at home, make sure that the chair you are using has ample support. Like this one, go grab a pillow so that way your back is going to be way less painful at the end of the day. Let's get one. At your office, you have all the tools you need, so you spend less time searching and more time working. Do the same thing here at your home office space. In addition to all the typical tools you might need at your desk, also make sure that you have a good extension cord so that you can keep all your devices charged and your lights on. Having a candle at work can be super important for some of those smells, equally as important at home. I like putting a nice candle right here on my desk, so that way everything smells nice. These are normally my best friend when I'm traveling a lot, but right now, I'm not traveling at all. So they've become my best friend at home. I can put these on and I can really focus on work and tune out all the distractions at home. Once you have your desk set up, it's important to consider the moments in between when you will be working. Now more than ever, it's really important to keep your mind just as healthy as your body. With everything that's going on in the world and the uncertainty that we face every single day, taking some moments throughout the day to pause and take some time for yourself will help you get through the day. If you're able to, take a walk outside, but don't forget to practice social distancing. Right, Marco? We'll go outside and go for a walk. Meditate daily. It's really important to keep yourself calm, cool, and collected in these stressful times. I like to use the Calm app at least once a day because it keeps me rather zen.
For more organization tips and some recipes, check out Bobbie's lifestyle website. It's bobbieburke.com. And don't forget, you can watch even more episodes of Staying Home With on PeopleTV. All right, guys, former Bachelor Colton Underwood's new book, The First Time, is available now, and its release date comes on the heels of him being diagnosed with coronavirus. I caught up with him, and he shared with me how he's been doing. Take a look. You were just telling me a second ago that you've just gotten kind of the all clear to be able to leave literal quarantine. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, obviously I tested positive for the coronavirus, and my battle with it was about 5 or 6 days. So I was very, very lucky and fortunate that it was manageable from home. I got on medicines right away, and I made a full, what I would consider a full recovery so far. And yesterday was my first day to sort of be able to be allowed, per the CDC and all the rules, to be able to go for walks and go back for runs around town. So still practicing social distancing, but I'm at least excited that I could leave the 3rd bedroom story of the Randolph's home.
Man, it's pretty wild. Just to kind of give an idea, because I don't know, I feel like we're learning more. Seems like it would be very scary, especially because it's kind of new and we're sort of all discovering what this all means. What did it look like for you at the beginning?
Well, it was scary. In the very, very beginning, it was just a headache and some body aches, which I thought was a little off for me, but I didn't know because I was still working out and training hard. And then I think when I started having night sweats and the shortness of breath, that's when it got real for me. And it got a little more serious. But like I said, I was very, very fortunate and lucky to find a doctor out here in out in Orange County, Huntington Beach area, that prescribed medicines and treated me right away.
That's great. And so you're currently doing better. You've been living in Cassie's family's home, right? You mentioned you're on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Kind of in your own spot. But look, house full of people, obviously, hopefully kind of a large house. But what's that process been like for you?
It's been a challenge, but you know what? They've been so great, and they've all been really just working on having gloves and masks when I was sick. So they did a really good job of following all the guidelines that everybody put out. And I think that's honestly what allowed them to stay healthy throughout all of this.
Yeah.
And just following all the guidelines and being sort of strict with that was really important.
Last thing about that, and then we'll get into the book. What's one thing that you've learned about the illness, the coronavirus, kind of the process now that you're on the other end of it, that you think everyone should know?
Well, I think it was important for me to speak out just because at the time there were so many different media reports on what it was, who it was affecting, what it did, what the symptoms were. And for me, I just felt like sharing my story and my perspective and my side of things of, hey, I'm a 28-year-old healthy dude who tries to live his life very healthy, and it knocked me on my butt. So it was important for me to get that message out. And then also early on, just share, stay at home. Like, I think at the time that I caught it, there were still spring breakers partying in Florida and saying if they get it, it's no big deal. And meanwhile, I'm gasping for air and trying to catch my breath after walking to the bathroom. So I just wanted to share that message that, hey, we need to take this serious. If you're not doing it for yourself, do it for somebody you love. Do it for your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, and your dad.
Colton also spilled the tea on all the things you can expect from his new book. Watch this. You know that there's going to be scrutiny, right? You know there's going to be a lot of pickup on those pieces of it. So was it kind of a question to you, like, should I, go into these areas or not?
Weirdly enough, it was actually just the opposite. I understand that people were going to gravitate and grab onto that, but at least I was in control of the narrative. And I felt like that was what was so cool and sort of therapeutic about writing this book, is that I'm taking back control of my story in my life, whereas I gave that up when I was, making a TV show. So for me to sort of open up and say, hey, this is what I've been through. This is where I've struggled. Of course, the sexuality thing has been sort of headlines right now, which I didn't expect, but I feel like it was important to share. I feel like that was a part of my story of being bullied, and almost, I think people can resonate with, once you hear something so many times, it starts to mess with you. It starts to be like, you start questioning yourself. You start questioning what you stand for, what you believe in, what you want out of life.
Yeah, when you open up about bullying, about identity, sexuality, things like that, some of those things are, unfortunately, it's generally things that men don't talk about a ton, right? I mean, It seems to be the kind of thing that guys kind of keep on the sideline. For you, how did you overcome those hurdles? I mean, you obviously are speaking out about it, but what was it for you that allowed you to get to a place where you're like, wow, okay, I've got control of this. I know who I am.
To be very frank with you, I still think I struggle with it every once in a while. And I think when I look back, I look at the culture that I was raised in, and nothing against my family or, the religion or the conservative values that I hold and the locker room environment. I was just always around hyper masculine culture, and it wasn't cool to speak out about emotions. It wasn't cool to, to be open about your struggles. And I didn't really have anybody to talk to, so I internalized a lot of that. And I think by obviously sharing that with people, hopefully it resonates, and people will have courage to speak up and admit when they're struggling or have somebody to talk to. I wish that I could have, had the courage to talk to somebody about it. I don't know who I would have talked to, but at least speak out and not internalize all of it, because that's not the healthiest thing for you to do. Is there going to be anything else that you talk about and reveal in this book that's going to shock Bachelor Nation specifically? As far as the book goes, I mean, obviously there's a lot of behind the scenes. I didn't want to write about something that you guys just watched on TV. Right. So it's more so like behind the scenes, what went into making a certain episode. I reveal that I showered in 5 different bathrooms in one day. It's like, in little moments, I give a breakdown of like sort of code words that I use, because I didn't want people to know exactly production-wise. We didn't want people to know when I had to use a restroom or anything like that. So there's a little bit of like dangling things there, but nothing really spiteful against the franchise at all. I went on the show looking for love, and I found love, and I found so much more. So I'm very, very happy about that. Coming out of the book is you opening up about your relationship with Allie Raisman and how she ended up breaking up with you over FaceTime. It was heartbreaking, right? That feels like that would be a tough moment. When you think back about that time, in hindsight, what is, as you're kind of reliving it, was that a tough experience for you, or is it something that you've dealt with and it's kind of done? No, that was actually the first time I really actually dealt with that. Because even my time on The Bachelor, I had it written into my contract that they couldn't bring that up or they couldn't talk about that. And that was more so just to protect her with everything she's going on. And I have so much respect and love for her, because, she is a leader in today's society, and she's somebody who openly stands out and speaks her mind, which you have to value. And for me, I think reliving that sort of helped with the closure side of things, because I didn't get a whole ton from her at the end of that relationship. So I wish her all the best and all the well for her, but you know, it was important for me to sort of close that chapter and get my closure.
Of course, we know Claire Crawley is the next Bachelorette, and production is currently on hold due to the coronavirus outbreak. But Colton shared with me what he's looking forward to most from that new season.
You know what? I haven't watched the last 2 seasons, admittedly. I sort of had a little bit of PTSD, but I'm excited. I think Claire's going to be a great Bachelorette, and I think if anybody's going to sort of shake things up and get the show back to focusing on love more than a TV show, it's going to be her.
Every week, People's food editors receive dozens of new and not yet released products from all your favorite brands. And since Easter is fast approaching, watch as Shay Spence and Anna Calderon try different Peep flavors, including hot tamale, to find out what's yuck, yum, and everything in between.
Oh my God. This is so many Peeps.
Hot tamales.
Now, chocolate pudding, that sounds interesting to me.
Yeah. Should you put these on? They're comfortable though. This is new.
Wait, do they go with my taco socks though? These are so lightweight.
Yeah, you can cook in those.
But they're so comfortable. Is this why everyone wears them?
Yeah.
We're just gonna go straight into the Peeps, the main attraction. Now, I don't know that we've ever discussed this.
What?
Do you? Where do you stand on Peeps?
I don't like Peeps. I like to blow them up in the microwave.
Okay.
But I don't really like eating them. But I'm gonna eat them
Absolutely,
for you.
I would say the most polarizing candy out there, if we're even calling them candy. I love Peeps. First of all, new flavors.
Yeah.
There's chocolate pudding, root beer float.
Hot tamales.
Hot tamale. Quiet on set.
Chocolate pudding is new.
Chocolate pudding sounds, to me, delicious.
I don't think it's going to be delicious, dear viewer. I forgot how, oh my God.
These are a soft batch. You know how sometimes they
like crust.
Yeah. No, this is fresh.
It's not that offensive.
Tell me that's not delicious. You're lying. You are lying. It has that sort of like chocolate mousse flavor. It's not just chocolate, which I really like. They went above and beyond. All right, move on. Root beer float. Super amped on this also.
Okay, we got the chicks here, not the bunnies.
I know. I think I prefer a bunny. Although with the chick, you have the sort of difference in thickness. So if you like it a little fluffier there, whereas the bunny
The other one wasn't getting on. This is like shedding.
Look at this.
Sugar.
This is just coated.
We got the traditional
Should have gotten
inside.
a manicure before this. That's a root beer float.
It's very spot on. I'm dreading this. Do you like regular hot tamales?
No, I hate them.
Yeah. I don't remember the last time I've had them though, but I hate Big Red.
I love spice. Love spicy things. Candy is not where I want that though. Like there's a time and a place. Okay.
They're fire red.
Fire red.
I'll just let you try it first. It's spicy?
Reader, I like it.
They're viewers, Shay. Yeah, they do dye your fingers red though.
Cut.
All right, guys, coming up tomorrow, former Bachelorette Ali Fedotowsky is sharing how she's been handling self-isolation with her kids and reveals how that virtual Bachelorette reunion went down.
Plus, we are talking with home designers Mike Welch and Joelle Uziel about their spooky new renovation show called Murder House Flip. Very curious about this one, Jeremy.
Good one.
Thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy and safe, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.